Morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday, 21st of February. We made it. Take a quick look at what's shaking here. So, everyone's wondering what's going to happen next, right? We had to move up, then we had to move down. This is really common in markets. And we shook out a lot of inventory underneath 6131. I haven't gone and looked at it, but I will later on today. I'll go and see what is the volume traded underneath 31 versus the volume traded above. And we had these 3 days that we gave it a good shake. We weren't able to take out 6100. Okay. So we are still using the old balance zones. We are still in the 4 times cost basis. The original balance zone was down here, 59.15 to 59.76. Double it to 6100 and then double it again all the way to 63.47. So we're still above 6100. So I know everybody really wants to get short biased, but seeing yesterday, like even yesterday, I was short biased. Raj said, I remember if you rewind the video, I know Raj is always looking for that catcher's mitt trade. And I said, not yet, not yet. But guess what? The low from yesterday actually held. It held and it didn't break 6100. So that tells me that the sell off was pure inventory, right? This is what we call a margin shakeout, right? Because people don't pay cash to buy futures, right? You guys know that, right? You use margin. So you margin them out and you get their product and then you take it back and you resell it. Make sense? Okay. So when people don't pay cash for a product, right? When they are dependent on loans to buy it, right? They have to repay that money if the price of that asset drops under a certain value or a certain price. So when that happens, they get what we call margined out. So you margin people out, you take their product, it goes into wholesale hands, right? It allows the short sellers who were short here, who couldn't cover for all these sessions, it allows them to come in and cover, right? And then right back up. Well, it's pretty hard. The thing, is say you were long 6140, right? And this thing drops all the way and it drops 40 points on you. That's a lot of heat to take, right? That's a lot of heat to take. 40 points, 40 points is a lot of heat. If you're offside 40 points on just one E mini, right? That's 2 grand. What if you're off 40 points on 50 contracts? You're down 100 grand. That's a lot of heat to take. Not for $1 billion account. 100 grand's nothing, right? That's cab fare. But there are a lot of multi-million dollar players who aren't trading billions in this market, and they do get margined out. So when we took out 6115, we dropped a lot of people out of the market, right? Picked up their inventory, and now we're reselling it above 6131. What do we expect today? Honestly, I expect this. I'm thinking here, 6125 to 6145, 46. I think that's your playground for today. If we take out yesterday's high, that's significant. If we take out yesterday's low, that's significant. But generally, we have a very large range to trade in. and I think we'll trade in that range. After a sell-off, I always, because of my background, I always like to see a market come back and test the previous day low, right? That's not happening right now, but it could. Don't rule this out. Don't get sleepy. Don't be a lazy long, right? A lazy long is a long that buys something and thinks it's never going to go down after a shakeout. Don't be a lazy long, okay? So just keep keep your eye on that low. Watch your levels. Today is what? Friday? What's your primary objective on a Friday is to not lose money, right? Friday is the day that you don't blow up the money that you made the week, right? So you could think of Friday as after you close down your business and you take the money to the bank. Take the money to the bank on Friday. Don't stop at this casino and blow all your cash because you're going to have a crappy weekend. Okay? Now, I'm not saying don't trade. Just use that thing that sits on top of your shoulders. Okay? Use the old peanut. Don't make stupid decisions. Don't chase markets. Be a professional. Okay? Don't think like a sucker. Okay? All right. So let's see what we can do. Here we are. Overnight inventory. It's a bit long because the overnight inventory, the point of control time and volume is above yesterday's close. So inventory is a little long. Range is tight. I did some balance levels from 33 half to 36 half. Double them to 42 to the top, double them down to 27 to the bottom in the discount zone. And there's a seller. There was a seller here, just under 38, and I see them. They're back. VWAP's here at 34. So I'll just draw a line at 34. We can get rid of these VWAP and the standard deviations. You just go hide, click, boom, they're gone. So you mark VWAP. You know that they kind of stop selling here. You can see that there are bids that come in right here. There's a little bit of a position here. So basically what we're doing is we're just bopping around back and forth through our balance zone. Okay. Kind of a slow night again. K period and J period are exactly the same high and lows, right? The point of control from yesterday, the point of control from the overnight are in the same neighborhood, a few ticks apart. If you're short biased, I'm not biased at all right now. I'm kind of looking to see what the next move is. I'm quite open-minded. Any questions? While it's slow and we're waiting for London to open, let's go take a look and see what happened with these deals. Apple 245 last night. Microsoft 416. Really not much is going on. Like we've been saying, the market is had all these expectations. We had a nice run, and now we're just kind of holding steady, just going sideways. Not much really happening. How'd PLTR shake out yesterday? Back above 105. Had a good correction. Still didn't fill the gap. That's about it. Next week is month end. Not a lot of drama. I was going of bitterness here. It's kind of holding that 98,000. That's good. How significant is the T plus two low of the day? We don't use T plus two anymore, Zeno. So I stopped looking at it. We're on a 1 day settlement now. You could look at it. It's how you decide to trade it. See, you looked at it. I completely didn't even look at it. So the low of 2 days ago, right? What is that? 61.30. Is it 30? Right? It's here's the thing. 60, yeah, 29 quarter, right? For me, the look below and fail of a 2 day old reference is something that I haven't tracked ever since. And that was never an A plus setup for me either. Right? Now, I'm not saying it's not significant, but I haven't looked at it enough. Let's put it let's put it to you in a simple way. I haven't done the work. So I haven't looked at it enough to figure out whether or not it's important. It could be, but I don't know because until you mentioned it, I haven't thought about T plus two for months now. See what I mean? But I'm not discounting what you're saying. If you see over time that the T plus two low is a significant piece of information, let us know because then we'll track it. But ever since they changed the rules, I threw it away. Right? Maybe an error. Right? I just haven't done the work. So now that I look at it, yeah, we looked underneath it and came back up. Is there a trade there? Sure, I'm sure there was, but it's not something that I trade, right? Now, if it turns out over 500 sort of, you take a sample size of a couple of hundred, 200, 300, 400, 500 times, then, like the look below and fail of the previous day, that's old hat, right? Everybody knows that one, right? But if 2 days ago, yeah, the thing is, a lot of these references will line up because the way these markets are traded are so precise and it's always just the same inventory. That's why I've got levels from 2020 that are 5 years old. When you extrapolate them out, they still work because the inventory doesn't change. Like, sure, they change the amount of contracts in the market, but it's not that significant. It's always the same stuff, right? Because we're always selling the same product, and that product is governed electronically, right? All of the algorithms and everything, they take the supply, they double it, right? It's just like, here's where I bought the stuff and here's where I'm selling it. And that never changes. So a lot of these references will sort of overlap, sometimes to the tick, right? And machines are very, very efficient now, right? Okay, now we're underneath VWAP. So a look above and fail of 36 half should target 33 half. But man, it is taking its time, right? Taking its time. So I just did these levels like a couple of minutes before I started the Zoom. And so I haven't done any work. I just looked at the market. I saw that big move up 2 days ago, big move down yesterday, and now we're right in the middle again, right? A lot of people last night, and I fell asleep, unfortunately. A lot of people last night are like, what's next? Can you comment on the close? Yeah, we shook the market out, took 3, 4 days of inventory, shook it out, got all the cheap inventory underneath 61.25, 61.15. Now we're going to resell it. Other than that, I don't know what the hell's going to happen next, right? This guy's still setting policy, right? So the president is still setting policy. Policy affects how companies earn money. That is what we call, my friends, a material change. So, and this guy's like a moving target. He just keeps changing stuff here and there, and he's gonna buy Canada and lease Greenland and do all this stuff. So there's all kinds of different policy things that are going on, and they're changing laws and executive orders. We need to see how that all shakes up. So if you were an analyst, right? Say you were an analyst at one of these firms, right? Say you were an analyst at Millennium or an analyst at Point 72, right? You are going to be very busy because policy changes one day. So you run down your analysis, how it's going to affect the companies you cover. And then policy changes the next day. So you have to run an analysis and change all your numbers. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you guys know what analysts do? This affects longer term stuff. Analyze. Well, an analyst, right? So say I have a hedge fund, right? And Elliot, you're my numbers guy, right? Analysts work in these things called pods. So if I own a hedge fund, I will have a portfolio manager. And say Zeno is my healthcare portfolio manager, and you're his healthcare analyst, right? So they'll have like 5 or 6 of you guys in these pods. And you came back after Christmas, and then this guy started changing all the policy. So you have to figure out, right, where the portfolio manager allocates his money, and you have to make recommendations, right? Buy this stock at this price, right? Get rid of this stock at that price, right? And they all sit down and they do this by committee. It's not like one guy sitting in a chair going pew 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 pew, right? So this is where the analysts are going to be drinking lots of coffee and sleeping in the office for the next 4 years, right? Because things change, you have to adjust your numbers. Then things change again, then you have to adjust your numbers. So it's going to be back and back and forth of this dynamic. What does that mean for the overall market? It'll probably go sideways for a while. And the speculators will just eat what they can kill on a day-to-day basis, right? Slide decks and models. And then there's a policy change, so you have to go and redo all your slide decks and models. Do they still interview company management? I would hope so. I mean, I would never put money into a company until I look into the whites of the eyes of the CEO. I mean, it'd be pretty foolhardy if you didn't, because you don't know what kind of wingnut's running the company, right? You're going to take down 50, $100 million worth of paper, and you got some nut job running the company. Yeah, I don't know how it's done nowadays, you know. I know how my clients do business. So if my clients are going to invest 15, $20 million into some small stock, they're going to make sure that they have their hand around the throat of the CEO, right? You ever see the movie Tropic Thunder? If you ever see the movie Tropic Thunder, there's a character in that movie called Les Grossman. He's a Hollywood producer. And that is what my clients are like. I generally don't trail my stop, KG. What I do is if I go long, I put my sell orders in. So say I go long 34 and a quarter, right? I've got my 36 sell order in. If it doesn't hit my sell order, I hit flatten and I'm out. So if I were to trail my stop, you just click the stop and slide it up. As soon as I'm long, I've got sell orders in. As soon as I'm short, I've got buy orders in. You'll notice on the recording yesterday, I failed to do that one time, and I caught myself, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm trading sloppy," and you'll hear me say it on the recording. Okay, correcting inventory down to the close. London's going to open in a minute and a half. What am I looking for when London opens is to see if that overnight low holds. Whether the low of M period from yesterday down at 27.5 and the low of L period from yesterday at 25 quarter, do those levels hold? I used to trail my stops. But I found in a lot of like faster markets, I wasn't fast enough to grab it and slide it, and then I'd slide it too much and get stopped out. So I just learned just to do it like I used to do it on the desk because they are the lows from the RTH session. They're where the stops are, Zed. That's where I'm looking for bids because if you look at the overnight low, it's at 61.28 and a quarter, right? Look where the M low is. It's right underneath that. That's where the buying was a few hours ago. I want to see if the buying's still there. Yeah, trailing is much better for position trading. Okay, here comes L period. 31 and a quarter, it could not break. So some bids came in at 31, 32. As soon as the bids came in, the offer started lifting. Where do you think the sellers are going to step in? I think around 34 half, 34 quarter. Hey, Wolf, what's up? And they came in a little earlier and back down. Let's see if 31 holds. Might be a slow Friday, which I am not opposed to. Not really that tradable. Yeah, Zed, Les Grossman is what my clients are like. They don't put any money into anything unless they have control. Now, larger firms can't do that, but you can bet that most larger firms, I don't know, have you guys ever worked at a public company and had to sit across the table from a majority shareholder? That is that is something to experience, right? I've been at those meetings, right? Because my clients were the majority shareholder and they'll shake down a CEO. They'll shake the CEO down. They'll get whatever they want because they have the leverage to crush the stock. All right, let's see if we get under 31. Forgot to mark the stops here at the GH low here. Oh, sometimes they have info on the CEO. Oh yeah, you bet they do. uh, you'll be surprised how easy it is to get information out of a secretary for a Louis Vuitton purse. Right? Uh, The point is that smart money doesn't just throw their money away and hope things go their way. So now as London opens, I'm looking for that bid. Is that bid still down there at 28 and a quarter? It was there a few hours ago. Has it moved higher? Has it moved lower? Right? I don't care about the trade right now. The last thing on my mind is taking a trade. I want to know where everybody's hiding in the bushes so I don't get sucker punched, right? That's what I'm looking for right now. And this is the thing about this method of trading where you sit and watch a market for a while before you go jumping into it, right? Yesterday, like, and for me especially, if I'm not physically feeling like 100%, I trade way less, right? If I'm overtired, if I have a cold, all of those things, right? It's not an excuse not to work. It is smart so you don't lose money. Because I have to be tuned in to a market. If I'm not tuned in, I'm going to lose money. And there's no point in just blowing money, especially client money. Okay, so there's some bids down there at 30. We took that GH low by one tick. Yeah, the discipline, right, Elliot? Well, the thing is now, Elliot, sports are a business. They're a very big business. I mean, if you're my quarterback and I'm paying you $25 million a year, sports is a huge business. What do we have for news today? Look at that. Right back to VWAP. Okay. So now I've got a bit of a lay of the land, right? The last half hour. I know where the offers are. I know where the bids are. I know that back and forth. And as long as that back and forth continues, I can trade the edge of it. But I will need some more coffee. You know what? I never look at the color of the candles. I just look at the bottom of them, right? And I really am watching the offer, right? Uh, One of those press things. I don't know. I'm very disillusioned with the coffee in the UK, especially after you go to Italy or Spain. You're like, ugh. I don't know. I could never make it as well at home, right? Yes. So right now, KG Hunter, if say I want to do a look below and fail, I know that there's sellers at VWAP, right? So if I was going long here, right? If the market stays offered above 31, 33 and a half, that's a good sign. I know there's a seller here. That's a pain in the butt. So is it worth taking a trade here for me? Not really. Not right now, right? If VWAP wasn't here, I would more likely take a trade here. But I know they're going to be sellers here, and I know they're going to be sellers here, right? Ah, this thing. See, there's sellers. They're all, as we used to say, racked and stacked. They're all stacked up here, right? So today or this morning, more specifically, I am less inclined to take a trade right now because let's go through our checklist, right, that I'm working on, and I will have that out this weekend for sure, right? So inventory above us or below us? It's below us, but it's acting like it's above us, right? There isn't much follow through on some of these moves, right? I just drew my levels out. What's the price action like? Every once in a while we get a decent sized candle, but the rest of them are kind of crappy. So if I do take trades, I don't expect much follow through, right? If you have candles like this here, that is a no trade. That is a no trade. That is a no trade, right? So a lot of this is telling me go get another coffee and chill the hell out. Make sense? And that's how you do business. You spend most of your time as a retail trader sitting and watching. It depends on the order flow, KG Hunter, right? Look below and fail after a big liquidation is great, but there are sellers. Do you notice that it's kind of in the old days we used to have a saying, and I don't like to say it with retail traders because they get biased. But do you notice it's kind of trading heavy, right? Like somebody's leaning on it at 34, 35, 36. There's sellers there, right? And there's not enough order flow to warrant increasing prices. The candles are getting, look at the last 5 minutes of candles, right? They're 33 and a half to 34 and a half, right? This entire trading environment tonight is not that great. And if you've noticed, this last week around the London Open has been kind of crappy. So what do I do when it's really crappy when I first start out trading? I mark everything up, I set everything up, and then I just sit back and relax. You got to do that. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself nuts. Right now, you're open for business. Go grab a coffee, go to the gym, do something like that. Come back in a little while, and let's see if we've gotten more people to come in and participate. Does that make sense? And that's how you trade intelligently. So you don't just overtrade or trade for the sake of trading. It's pretty brutal. But that's the business, right? In a lot of ways, we're like fishermen. Sometimes the fish aren't biting. Oh, there's a big order. Hello, welcome. There's the overnight low getting tested. Could we have anticipated that? No. And my overnight puck is right here, Patty. See, right here. There's yesterday's point of control. There's the overnight right here. 34 is the time point of control. There's a time and volume point of control, Patty. See how we came right to that M low? Let's see if we break that. This is good. Got some action. It's a TPO chart. Yeah. This is a TPO chart on the right. This is the candle on the left. Yeah. So yeah, Patty, this is the time point of control, and this is the volume point of control. It was, yeah, it was a nice look below and fail of 27.5. I missed it. That wouldn't have been a bad trade, 28 to 30. Couple of points on a couple of contracts. Now I know the levels are working, so that's good. So what happened here? I'm just going to discuss this really quickly. Now, a lot of people will think it's news or something like that, and that could be true. But do you see how that there was a seller here at VWAP, constant, and here and here? Remember we were talking about that? So say I was long contracts from yesterday at 22. Say I had 2,000, 3,000 contracts, and I had them offered here and nobody was buying them. What would I do? I would just come in and I just fricking just hit it, right? You don't want to buy them here? Fine. Choke on it. Boom. And just hit every single bid. This is a nice little see, and you can see it's one sell order or one group of sell orders because the response back is pretty quick, right? We only flushed for 1 minute. Now, do you guys see that? That's how you get those big red candles, right? Because what happens is they can't, if you can't sell If you're getting too much competition at 33, 34, right? You're like, F this, I'm out. And you'll take your 2,000 contracts and you'll just hit every single bid. You're like, here, eat it, right? Because your cost basis is down at 22, 23, could be 16, right? So you're still making money, just not as much. But if you notice that it's a slow market, and if you know that, why do I want to hold this inventory if everybody else is selling at 34 and I own it at 20? Why the hell would I hang on to it? Do you guys understand the business behind that? Now you got to ask yourself, how many people got short under 20, underneath 30? Let's see when we come back and test 30 if there's a bid there, because that'll help push us back up to 33. If enough people got short underneath 30 and a half, but we were only under there for a couple of minutes. Here we go. See how we came down to 30 and a half, tagged it, and the offer started to lift? Rewind this after we're done, because that is actually worthy of learning. See how it's slowing down? Watch the offer. Okay. They saw a seller. So now those shorts are getting filled, right? If you understand why things happen, you're less likely to get bamboozled. Yeah. Well, those guys, my job, my goal is that you guys get consistent so you don't need me, right? My job is to become obsolete. If I've done my job properly, you guys won't need to be in the room, right? You will make money and then you can just go and make money, right? Have a great weekend, Zeno. A little bids down there at 29. That's pretty much it for today, ladies and gentlemen. That was all the action, but that was the teachable moment right there. Large seller takes us under, look below and fail of 27, back up, back down here. Let's see where the bids are now. And that's pretty much it. We still did not, I mean, we took that M low by one tick. So there's still some bids down here. As time goes on through the night, let's see if they're still there. Just be on your toes, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday. I'm going to cut it short a little early here, so unless you guys have more questions, enjoy your morning, trade safe, and we'll see you in RTH. Those we don't see in RTH, have a wonderful weekend. Oh, here's the thing, and I'm going to say it at the end of every session. If for some reason you do not see the recording posted, please DM me and not Steve because he doesn't have the Zoom password. Okay? Just in case I forget. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.